Let me break this down for you because I want you to really understand how powerful just 1 hour a day can be. Most people overestimate what they can do in a day and massively underestimate what they can accomplish in a year. That's where they go wrong. They think if they don't have a huge block of time or instant results, it's not worth it. That mindset, it's keeping them stuck. The truth is, real transformation doesn't come from a dramatic overhaul of your life overnight. It comes from small, consistent actions done over time. That's the compound effect. That's the secret. If you dedicate just 1 hour a day, just one, to a goal that matters to you, you're stacking up hours that will change your life. Let's do the math, because I want this to hit you hard. 1 hour a day for a year is 365 hours. That's more than 9 40-hour work weeks. Imagine what you could do with 9 weeks of focused time on one thing. You could write a book, you could start a business, you could learn a new language, master coding, get in the best shape of your life. But it doesn't happen all at once. It happens when you commit to the compound effect. Here's what people don't realize. Small steps don't feel powerful in the moment. They feel ordinary, too small to matter. That's why most people give up. They go to the gym for a week and quit because they don't see abs. They journal for 3 days and still feel anxious. But the compound effect isn't about immediate gratification. It's about showing up consistently and letting the results sneak up on you. Because they do. They always do. Let me give you a visual. Imagine you're standing at the base of a massive mountain. You want to reach the top, but it looks overwhelming. You can't even see the summit. Most people look up, feel defeated, and walk away. But if you just take one step every day, over time, you're going to get there. Some days, it'll feel like you barely moved. Other days, it'll feel like you're flying. But the key is, you're moving. That's progress. That's what changes everything. And here's something else I need you to understand. The compound effect works both ways. It can work for you or against you. 1 hour a day scrolling social media or watching Netflix doesn't seem like a big deal, right? But over time, that's 365 hours wasted on something that didn't grow you, didn't challenge you, didn't move you closer to the life you want. Time is passing whether you use it wisely or not. That's the hard truth. You're either compounding progress or compounding regret. I get it. 1 hour might not sound like much, but I want you to shift your mindset. That hour is an investment, a deposit into the future version of yourself, the version who's confident, who's successful, who's living the life you dream about when you're staring at the ceiling at night. That version of you, they don't show up by accident. They're built hour by hour, day by day, and it starts with today. You don't need more time, you need more intention. Carve out 1 hour, wake up earlier, turn off the TV, say no to distractions. Guard that hour like your future depends on it, because it does. During that hour, go all in. Focus, learn, practice, build. You don't need to be perfect. You just need to be present and consistent. Think about where you could be 90 days from now if you started today. Not with a grand gesture, not with a 5-year plan. Just one solid hour of effort every single day. I promise you, if you show up for that hour, it will pay you back in ways you can't even imagine right now. That's the compound effect. And it's not magic, it's math, it's discipline, it's momentum. And it's 100% available to you starting right now. Let's get something straight. You are not always going to feel like doing the thing that needs to be done, and that's okay. The problem isn't that you lack motivation. It's that you're relying on it in the first place. If you only act when you feel motivated, you'll never be consistent. And if you're not consistent, you won't change your life. That's why discipline is greater than motivation. Discipline is the muscle. Motivation is a mood. You can't build your life around a mood, but you can build it around discipline. Here's what most people don't get. Motivation is unreliable. It comes and goes. It's a wave. It's an emotion. It might show up after a really great podcast or a TED Talk. You feel fired up for a minute. But then what happens when you wake up tomorrow and you're tired? Or it's raining, or you've got 15 things pulling at your attention? That motivation disappears. It's not there to drag you out of bed. It's not there to tell you to put your phone down and work on your goals. That's where discipline comes in. Discipline doesn't ask how you feel. Discipline doesn't negotiate. Discipline says we're doing this because it matters. Now let me be real with you. Discipline doesn't come naturally to most people. It's not something you're born with. It's something you build. It's a decision you make again and again until it becomes who you are. The good news? You only need 1 hour a day. That's it. 1 hour where you push aside distractions, ignore your excuses, and show up with intention. That 1 hour is your training ground. Every time you choose discipline over comfort in that hour, you're rewiring your brain to follow through. You're teaching yourself that you are the kind of person who honors commitments to yourself. Here's a truth bomb. People talk a lot about self-love and confidence, but they skip the part where those things are built. You don't become confident by thinking positive thoughts. You become confident by doing hard things, by showing up when it's inconvenient, by proving to yourself that you can be counted on. That's what discipline does. It gives you evidence. And evidence builds belief. Think about athletes, artists, entrepreneurs, people who are crushing it in their field. You think they feel motivated every single day? No. What they have is structure, a routine, a system. They wake up and do the work whether they feel like it or not, because they know that feelings are fleeting, but results are earned through repetition. They use discipline to protect their goals from their moods, and here's the key. You don't have to feel ready, you just have to act. Action creates momentum. Momentum fuels progress. And progress changes your identity. The more you take action, the less you'll need motivation at all. You'll become someone who simply does the work. Not perfectly, not always enthusiastically, but consistently. That's what matters. Let's talk about willpower. People act like it's a magical force that shows up in the morning and runs out by dinner. But the truth is, willpower is like a battery. If you're spending your day making a million small decisions, scrolling, snacking, procrastinating, it's not a question of should I do it? It's a fact. It's scheduled. It's happening. That's what successful people do. They don't wait for the feeling, they follow the plan. And listen, I get it. Life is busy. You've got responsibilities. But let me be clear. You're not too busy. You're just not focused. We all have the same 24 hours. The difference is how we use them. 1 hour of deep focus beats 5 hours of distracted effort. So carve it out, protect it. Use it to train your discipline muscle. Because once that muscle is strong, you can apply it to anything. Your health, your business, your relationships, and that's when everything starts to change. So stop waiting to feel ready. Stop searching for motivation. Start acting. Show up for that 1 hour a day like your future depends on it, because it does. Motivation might get you started, but only discipline will keep you going. And consistency beats intensity every single time. Your brain is not fixed. It's not stuck. It's not set in stone. Science has proven it. Your brain has the power to change, grow, and rewire itself throughout your entire life. That's called neuroplasticity. And it's the foundation for why 1 hour a day can completely change your life. Because every time you do something new, every time you practice a habit or learn a skill, you're literally reshaping your brain. You are building new neural pathways, and that means you are never truly stuck, unless you choose to be. Let's get into how this works, because it's not just motivation talk. This is backed by neuroscience. Your brain functions on patterns. The more often you repeat a thought or behavior, the stronger that pathway becomes, like a well-worn trail in the woods. If you've been procrastinating, doubting yourself, or escaping into distraction for years, guess what? That's the trail your brain has been running on. And it runs it automatically. But here's the exciting part. You can build new trails. You can change the route. And that starts with intentional, repeated action. When you commit to spending just 1 hour a day doing something that matters, learning, creating, training, growing, you're telling your brain this is important. Your brain takes that signal seriously. It starts to rewire. New neurons fire together. Synapses strengthen. And over time, that new habit that felt so hard in the beginning, it becomes your new normal. That's how change works. Not all at once, but gradually and powerfully. It's not about flipping a switch. It's about laying one brick at a time. The first time you sit down to do focused work, or pick up a new skill, or go for that run, it's going to feel awkward. That's not a sign that you're failing. That's a sign your brain is learning. You're stretching it beyond its usual patterns, and that's uncomfortable, but it's also exactly what growth feels like. The problem is, people interpret discomfort as a reason to stop. They think this feels hard, so maybe it's not for me. No, it feels hard because it's working. You are literally firing up a new area of your brain. Think about this like going to the gym, the first few workouts, brutal. You're sore, you're tired, you doubt yourself. But if you keep showing up day after day, your body adapts. You get stronger. The same thing happens with your brain. 1 hour a day of intentional practice builds mental strength, clarity, and resilience. It sharpens your focus. It increases your ability to solve problems, regulate your emotions, and stay disciplined. This isn't theory, it's how your nervous system actually works. You don't need to be a genius to rewire your brain, you just need consistency. 1 hour a day is enough. That's the beauty of neuroplasticity. It doesn't require perfection, it requires repetition. That means even on days you feel tired, distracted, or unmotivated, if you show up and do the work, your brain is still adapting. Even small actions leave a mark. That 1 hour is like training your brain to operate on a higher level, and the longer you stay at it, the more effortless it becomes. And let's talk about identity, because this part matters. The more you act like a focused, committed, high-performing person, the more your brain starts to believe that's who you are. Identity follows behavior. If you write for 1 hour a day, your brain starts thinking, I'm a writer. If you practice public speaking daily, I'm a communicator. That identity shift is powerful. Because once your brain accepts a new identity, it becomes much easier to act in alignment with it. That's how habits become natural. That's how you stop fighting yourself. Here's the bottom line. Change isn't about willpower. It's about rewiring. 1 hour a day isn't just productive. It's transformative. You're not just learning something new. You're becoming someone new. Someone who follows through. Someone who shows up. When you show up for that 1 hour more often than not, you start building momentum. You start proving to yourself that you can be consistent, that you can stay focused, that you do have time when you make it a priority, and that belief is powerful. Because once you know you can make time for one goal, you realize you can make time for any goal. The reality is, if something matters, you'll make time for it. If it doesn't, you'll make excuses. That's the line. And that's why 1 hour a day can change your life. Not because it's a magic number, but because it forces you to decide, to choose what kind of person you want to be, to choose your future over your comfort, to choose growth over distraction. That 1 hour is your proving ground. It's your declaration. It says, I'm not just talking about changing, I'm actually doing it. So the next time you hear yourself say, I don't have time, stop, take a breath, and ask yourself, what am I choosing instead? Because time is always there. It's your priorities that write the story of your life. You're the author. You're in charge. 1 hour a day is all it takes to start writing a new chapter. Not every single day your life is shaped by the decisions you make, whether you're aware of them or not. It's not the big, life-changing moments that define you as much as the small, seemingly insignificant choices you make over and over again. And this is where the power of 1 hour a day becomes so important. Because it's not just about time, it's about the habits that time builds. You're not trying to change your life overnight. You're training yourself to become the kind of person who creates transformation, one decision, 1 hour, one habit at a time. Let's break this down. A habit is simply a behavior you repeat often enough that it becomes automatic. And when it becomes automatic, it no longer requires much thought or energy. That's why bad habits are so dangerous. They don't ask for permission. You just do them. But here's the good news. The exact same process works for good habits too. You can teach your brain to default to the behaviors that move your life forward. You can train yourself to choose focus instead of distraction, action instead of avoidance, progress instead of excuses. The most effective way to create a habit is through consistency, not intensity. That's the mistake most people make. They go all in for a week, burning themselves out, and then they quit. But real, lasting habits are formed through small, repeatable actions, and that's why 1 hour a day is so powerful. It's long enough to make a real impact, but short enough to be sustainable. You don't need to flip your whole life upside down. You just need to carve out that 1 hour and protect it like your future depends on it. Because it does. And here's something most people overlook. Habits aren't just about what you do, they're about who you become. Every time you choose to show up for that hour, you're reinforcing a new identity. You're saying, I'm someone who invests in my growth. I'm someone who keeps promises to myself. I'm someone who gets things done. That identity builds over time. And the stronger it gets, the easier it becomes to stick with your habits. You don't have to fight yourself anymore. You're simply living in alignment with who you are becoming. Think of it like this. Your habits are the votes you cast for the kind of person you want to be. 1 hour of focused effort is one more vote for the future you're building. It doesn't matter if it's learning a new skill, writing a book, improving your health, or building a business. The goal is less important than the process. Because once you learn how to build habits around one goal, you can transfer that skill to anything. You become someone who knows how to create change because you've done it 1 hour at a time. Let's talk about structure. If you want to turn that 1 hour into a powerful habit, you need to make it predictable. That means picking the same time each day, the same space if possible, and eliminating as many distractions as you can. When your brain knows what to expect, it stops resisting. You don't waste energy deciding when or where or how, you just show up. And the more you show up, the stronger that habit becomes. That's how you go from I have to do this to this is just what I do. Now, some days are going to be harder than others, that's a given. You'll be tired, you'll be stressed, you'll be tempted to skip it. But those are the moments that matter most. Because every time you push through resistance, every time you do it anyway, you're strengthening your discipline, you're reinforcing your habit, and you're proving to yourself that you are in control, not your mood, not your excuses, not your circumstances. You. That's where real power comes from doing the thing even when it's hard. And let's not forget the compound effect. Habits don't feel like much in the moment, but over time they add up to massive results. 1 hour a day for a year is 365 hours. That's over 9 40-hour work weeks. Can you imagine how much progress you could make in any area of your life if you showed up for 365 focused hours? That's how lives are transformed, not by dramatic overnight shifts, but by showing up for yourself every single day. So if you want to change your life, don't chase motivation. Don't wait for the perfect moment. Focus on habits. Build the muscle of consistency. Create a system that supports you. And start with just 1 hour a day. Because when you build habits that serve your future starts to take shape. 1 hour, one action, one habit at a time. There's something powerful that happens when you commit to showing up for yourself every single day. Not for anyone else, not for approval, not for applause, but for you. That's what discipline really is. It's not about being harsh or rigid. It's about honoring your goals even when no one's watching. And when you dedicate 1 hour a day to your growth, your dreams, your future, you begin to build a sense of self-respect that no one can take away from you. Because that time is proof that you value yourself enough to invest in your own potential. Most people wait for motivation. They wait until they feel inspired or confident or ready. But here's the truth. Discipline comes before motivation, not the other way around. Motivation is a feeling, it comes and goes. But discipline is a decision, a habit, a muscle you build. And like any muscle, the more you use it, the stronger it gets. So when you commit to that 1 hour a day, even when you don't feel like it, even when it would be easier to scroll or sleep in or delay, you're building strength. You're reinforcing the idea that your goals are worth showing up for, even on the hard days. And this is where self-trust starts to form. Every time you do what you said you would do, you send a message to yourself. I can count on me. That kind of trust is rare. Most people are in the habit of breaking promises to themselves. They say they'll start on Monday, and they don't. They commit to a goal and quit the moment it gets uncomfortable. That kind of behavior doesn't just sabotage results, it erodes your confidence. But the opposite is also true. When you start following through, even in small ways, your confidence starts to grow, quietly, steadily, 1 hour at a time. And here's the beautiful part, discipline creates freedom. That might sound backward, but it's true. When you discipline yourself to put in that one focused hour every day, you start to feel in control. You're no longer bouncing between chaos and guilt. You're no longer reacting to everything life throws at you. You're acting with purpose. And that kind of intentional living gives you more time, more clarity, and more freedom than any shortcut ever could. But let's be real, it's not always glamorous. Discipline isn't about feeling amazing every time you show up. Sometimes it's boring. Sometimes it's frustrating. Sometimes you don't see results right away, and that's where most people quit. They confuse progress with perfection, but the people who actually create change, the ones who master their craft, build businesses, improve their health, or transform their lives, are the ones who show up anyway. Not because it's always fun, but because they've decided that their future is worth fighting for. So what does this look like in practice? It looks like closing your laptop and studying for that certification, even when Netflix is calling. It looks like waking up an hour earlier to write, learn, or train before the day takes over. It looks like saying no to distractions because you've already said yes to your dream. And each time you do that, you strengthen your discipline. You remind yourself that your life is not dictated by convenience. It's shaped by choice. The secret is not to rely on willpower every day. That's exhausting. The secret is to build a routine so solid that it removes the need for decision-making. You don't decide if you'll do your hour today. It's already decided. It's who you are now. A person who shows up, a person who puts in the work, a person who follows through. And that identity shift, that's where the transformation happens. Because discipline isn't just about what you do. It's about who you become in the process. You become someone who is consistent, someone who keeps promises, someone who creates results instead of waiting for them. And once that shift happens, you stop needing external motivation. You become your own engine, your own source of power. So yes, 1 hour a day can change your life. But not just because of what you achieve during that hour. It's because of who you become through the discipline of showing up for it. That hour is a mirror. It reflects your values. It reinforces your standards. It reshapes your identity. And over time, that daily act of discipline builds a version of you that is unstoppable. Not because life gets easier, but because you get stronger, 1 hour at a time.